Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. So if you're new here, I channel the Akashic Records. I raise my vibration up into the dimensions of the records. If you don't know what the Akashic Records are, they are a high vibrational place in the higher realms where all of the information about creation is stored. So everything that has been created and is being created. So I recently went on a trip to Montana, and while I was there, I had the opportunity to sit on the land and to go into the Akashic Records just a little bit. And there is a mountain range in Montana. And something that came through right away was that there were aliens in the mountains. So I didn't get the opportunity to fully explore this topic yet. And that is what I'm going to be doing today. So, to start off, I'm going to say a prayer which allows me to raise my vibration up into the dimensions of the records. And then from that point, I'm going to start asking some questions. Let's go. Mother God, help me to open my heart, protect me and guide me away from any fears or resistance. Remove all judgment and allow me to channel the truth as it is revealed for our highest good and the highest good of all. Remove any obstacles from the connection to and the awareness of the truth. Help me to surrender to truth and allow it to flow through me unhindered. I now request access to the Akashic Records of the collective. Help me to know the collective in the light of the Akashic Records, to see the collective through the eyes of the Lords of the Records, and enable me to share the wisdom and compassion that the masters, teachers, and loved ones of the collective have for it. The Akashic Records are now open. Namaste. All right, so as soon as I started going up into the records, I started getting this really excited feeling. Multi-dimensional beings from other planets, other realms, are really increasing their contact with Earth lately. There's a lot of more people waking up, being aware of these energies, these frequencies, and they're definitely starting to make themselves more known, we can say. So to start off with, my first question is, are there aliens in the mountains? And I already know the answer to that is yes. Some people have even been able to see different, UFO type beings, strange lights, different auras or colors or energies around the mountains. When even, normal people go to the mountains, they can feel this powerful energy there. They can feel the presence of this higher vibrational energy there. So I wanted to know, why do they choose the mountains and how do they come to the mountains? Kind of like what is the point of this? So because the mountains are higher up off of Earth, so they reach higher points on Earth, this is a prime place for aliens to come through to make contact. It's almost like Earth herself has made these mountain peaks and ranges as ways to sort of rise above the collective frequency. Because a lot of these beings are so high vibrational, it is challenging sometimes for them to shift energies and frequencies to be able to interact with the energy on Earth, because a lot of our collective and population is of a lower vibrational frequency. So something to keep in mind is that Earth herself is one being. So this is like a little bit of background information, but we are all essentially cells on Earth. And Earth herself is like, imagine her as just one of us. So she is her own being in a much larger collective consciousness. So, she is sisters with the other planets in our solar system. She is a child of our galaxy. And so this sort of visual is helpful in understanding that she is healing as a being, and so her cells are upgrading as beings, which means the cells of us are all upgrading as well. And so, but right now, a majority of the population, so a majority of the cells are in still this lower frequency. And those of us who have spirit guides, when we are here in a human physical body, it can sometimes even be challenging for our spirit guides or our galactic guides, galactic families, if you resonate with the term starseed. So if you're someone who is from off planet, it can be sometimes more challenging for your guides to connect with you because of the density of the energy here on Earth. So the reason that mountains are a really popular place for alien contact or for aliens to come down into this planet is because they have these peaks. So they are higher up, and they're also majority untouched, right? There's not a lot of humans on these planets, these mountains. Few and far between actually make it up to the peaks. So the energy is less dense from this access point into Earth. Now, I'm also curious if these alien beings are physical or if they are more energetic. From my understanding, a lot of times these alien beings are more energetic just because of their high vibrational frequency. When they're on their own planets, they don't have a physical body because it's too dense. So I've often wondered, if when aliens come to Earth, if they're still operating in these high frequencies or if they take on a more physical form. And so they can actually, yes, take on a more physical form. And actually, they're doing this through the planet. So it's like the planets become a portal. So when they arrive to the planet, they are of an energetic frequency, but then they're able to sort of like morph and shift and change into more physical beings if they choose. A lot of different alien beings and different, like the Syrians, the Pleiadians, these different sort of families or groups of aliens, they all have their own different missions and purposes. And something that we don't often realize because we are so stuck in our current paradigm is that there is so much going on outside of planet Earth herself. There are wars between other alien beings. There is this sort of ongoing battle between light and dark energies that is happening on these higher realms. And so the alien beings that come through can also be of these different frequencies. There can be light being aliens and also dark being aliens that are using these portals to come down to Earth, because Earth herself right now is in the middle of this battle, and there are dark beings that are wanting to overtake her. And there are also beings of the light who are working to overtake isn't exactly the right word when you're speaking of the light, but working to raise her frequency and vibration so these dark beings no longer have access. So this is something that's sort of ongoing right now between these two types of energies. And it's not as simple as I'm saying it. It is a lot more complex than this, but this is just kind of for our human minds to be able to grasp it. Now, what's interesting is there are certain portals in these certain mountains that are sort of run by different beings. So there actually are some mountains that are run by more darker entities, which is so fascinating. I had never considered that before. In different parts of the world, there are portals that have been sort of overtaken by dark energies and entities. And right now we're speaking specifically in Jerusalem, because this is a place where a lot of power, there's really powerful portals there. And it's funny because humans are trying to get involved, like the government agencies, they try to take over these certain portals. There are places that humans aren't allowed to go. There are beings in government positions or even higher up positions that are both of the light and of the dark. And so there are sort of like covert missions happening around some of these portals, based on who's trying to have access to these frequencies and these energies, because they're powerful, energetic places on Earth. So different mountain ranges have different frequencies. They have different beings that are working in them and through them. These beings can sort of like come down and then materialize if they choose. And they're also speaking about, going even deeper into the Earth's crust, Earth's surface. The same sort of energetic battle is sort of happening down there. A lot of the more darker parts of our human consciousness. So some of the rituals that are done by dark beings and so on are actually held underground, held in these specific portals. And so there is this mission happening where light beings are coming to Earth to help Earth to raise her frequency. Overall, that is really what it is, trying to raise Earth's vibrational frequency up into the light, or beings trying to keep her in more of the dark frequency, the fear, the control, the power. The word power isn't necessarily negative all the time, but in this context, they would like power over others. So this is a more negative connotation of this word. Whereas the light beings want humans to be empowered, want humans to be sovereign, want to, each and every little individual cell on Earth to move up into these higher frequencies, because that would mean that Earth herself is moving up into these frequencies. So Montana specifically is currently run by majority light beings. There are different places, so it's kind of a mix of both, actually. So some of you might feel called to go there because your frequency, your energetic vibration is actually going to help to sort of like buffer and safe and hold and raise the frequency of some of these places that are maybe in the little bit more of a midst of this light and dark sort of push and pull. And so yeah, that's part of the reason why I was specifically called to Montana, as well as honestly this wedding that I was at in this family. They're very high vibrational, like a lot of love there, a lot of really high vibrational energy even within that container, because it's funny, the girl, she doesn't live there, but they had their wedding there. So that's very interesting as well, that even that event was was divinely planned to be there. Like these light beings wished to have that energy there to help to support these mountains. This mountain range specifically is powerful because it goes from, through Canada and the US, and the US is a really big player right now in these world frequencies and energies. And if you're watching this video currently, I don't keep up with politics a lot, so I don't really know exactly what's going on, but I have heard that the government is shut down. And I believe that happened around the same time that I was in Montana. This was happening. So, yes, so that's very powerful in itself. Why you might be drawn to specific natural places or natural resources or different energetic places on the planet is actually to help to anchor in more of this light, to sort of ward off, in a sense, some of these darker beings or entities that are trying to take over these portals. Because if these portals are run by the dark, then more of these, reptilian type beings, or there's other draconians, there's other beings besides just reptilians, but more of these like people with less of a positive intention are able to come in and then move their way down into inner earth to work in these more darker rituals. There is a shift, a big shift happening right now. A lot of these underground places are collapsing. A lot of these souls that have been trapped are being released. A lot of these public figures or big players on the side of the dark that have been getting their sustenance and life force from others are losing their resources. And so there's also this active energy of these beings trying to get more of them here so that they can kind of get their groove back, so to speak. And so that's why it's very important for the beings of the light to be the ones who are governing these energetic portals on the mountains. Oh, that is so interesting. So can we see them? Certain people can see them. Once again, it really depends on your frequency. A lot of times if an alien being has come to Earth and has, morphed into a more human form, if they start off planet and come on planet, they will have their memories of being off planet. So they will morph into a human form, and a regular human wouldn't recognize them or see them. On the side of the dark, some of these beings have the ability to shapeshift. So once again, a regular human isn't going to know if they're seeing an alien or not. And then those of us who were born on the planet in a human body, we don't have our memories. So there are a lot of alien beings right now living as humans, not even knowing that they come from off planet in the first place. But also there are a lot of energetic beings that are not taking on physical form coming in through these portals. And once again, that's why a lot of the times they choose the mountain, because it's an easy access point for them to essentially lower their vibration enough to be able to enter Earth and her field, which is so interesting. So yes, okay. So those are most of the questions that I had on this topic. If this raises any questions for you, please feel free to leave comments, leave questions. We can dive deeper on this topic if you have specific mountain ranges you want me to ask about, or if any of this sparked any curiosity for you. Please feel free. I would love to go deeper on this topic, but these are all the questions that I personally have at this time. Is there anything else they would like us to share about this topic? Yeah, just like this is an ongoing message, but focusing on your own healing, raising your own vibration, alchemizing energy and frequencies is what is going to be the best way to help Earth to move into this vibrational field herself. And as Earth shifts consciousness, more and more of this alien contact is going to happen. And we're going to become more aware of things that are happening off planet. So we're actually going to become bigger players in this larger scheme that is happening, out of our scope of current frequency. We have chakras. So we have chakras in our body that are energetic portals. We are made of energy. And if we have a lot of this lower dense energy, we don't have as much access to our higher chakras. But ideally, in an ideal world, if all of our chakras were completely opened, we would have access to these frequencies and we would see this as normal. We would be more included and involved in everything that's happening off planet. It wouldn't seem outside of us taboo, something far away. We would actually have the consciousness and the capability to be more involved in the grand scheme of things that is a much bigger deal for these off planet beings right now. Like there are beings off planet whose whole mission, whose whole purpose, whose whole, everything is around like interplanetary things. So as we open up more of ourselves and become more aware of these higher fields, we're going to see more, like we'll be able to interact with these alien beings more easily, essentially. And some of us are already doing that. And then some of us don't even have a clue that's going on, think that's hocus pocus, whatever. If that's you might probably not watching this video unless you're just like curious or you want to like be skeptical, whatever. That's your prerogative. I'm just here to share this information, take it or leave it, resonate with it or don't. That part doesn't really matter to me that much, to be completely honest. But yeah, very interesting, very cool. Keep your eyes out, when you're around the mountains, bring your energy down, ground your energy, think about channeling light, think about channeling love, stay aware, stay open, stay present. You never know what you might see if you're a energetic match for these energies and frequencies and things that are happening. If your energy is a match, then you'll see it. If your energy is not a match, you won't. That's, one of the main rules is as within, so without. So if you're open to it, you might even see some of this activity when you're in the mountains or on the mountains, or at the very least feel the power there. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to add and mention is that the Montana trip was a huge portal for me as well. So even me individually going there and being around the mountains and that mountain range, as much as my energy was helping to raise the frequency and to be anchoring in the frequencies of light for that mountain range. Also, in reflection, I was going through a portal myself. So even me being there had impact on my own energy. And so some of the beings of the light in that planet and on that mountain range were actually providing me healing energies and frequencies as I was going on a hike up the mountain as well. which is very interesting. And I just wanted to add that it goes both ways. You know, you can be providing healing frequencies and light for the mountains and for Mother Earth, but also these beings of light that are in these mountains are very powerful and are actually providing healing energies and frequencies and higher vibrationals that are more higher vibrations that are more accessible to you as well. Whenever you're of an energetic frequency and you come in contact with another high frequency thing, you get to be in the energy and in the frequency of that thing. So you going there to a place that is a more high vibrational place, a place that is guarded and protected by the light, you're also going to be receiving the benefits of that high vibrational energy that is more easily accessed from these points and these places. You know, certain people who like to hike, they get a lot of access. There's probably a lot more going on behind the scenes than a lot of them realize when they're going up to these places on the mountains. And in the same breath, if you are getting, you know, an uneasy or a more negative feeling or something that doesn't feel quite, you know, light and bright and high vibrational, protecting your energies when you're traveling to different places is also a really good idea. I always suggest protecting your energies, but especially when you're going to different places you haven't been before. You're very sensitive to energies. Even if you're not sensitive to energies, but you're hearing this, protecting your energy is always a good thing. Setting the intention that only frequencies of unconditional love can enter your bubble, that anything that is not of unconditional love will bounce off, be sent to the heavens with love and forgiveness, where God's will for it will be done. That's one of my favorite little mantras, because then you are alchemizing this energy that might be trying to penetrate your aura as well. But yes, I wanted to mention that you traveling to these places is also benefiting you and raising your frequency just by being in these energies too. Very cool. All right, I'm gonna leave it there for today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions or comments about this video. As I said, I'd like to go deeper, and I am gonna be making another video on Montana, because even though the mountains were a big point, there was also a river that was running by us. And so I'm also very curious about the water and the river and these sort of topics. So I'm going to dive into that. The trees also were sharing messages with me. The land I was on specifically, I think it's very interesting that they brought up that even the wedding itself and the people who were at the wedding were very powerful, energetic players in this larger conversation, because the place that I was at, there was a lot of grief and sadness on that actual land. And I would imagine that the person who lives there is fairly powerful himself and might not fully realize it. So that's kind of cool too. But there was alchemy happening, like even beyond the physical. So it was very neat to be there and to experience from my perspective and from the way I view the world. It was a very powerful experience, and I hope to have more of those experiences in the future, to be guided to more places. Yeah, it's interesting that I was like, you know, of all the places I could travel or I could go, that I was guided to Montana. And so I feel like it has a lot to do with that specific mountain range. And that was like the easiest access point for me at that time, to go to that specific place. But I imagine, you know, different mountains and different places along this range would have different frequencies. So there's definitely kind of like that. I would say this mountain range, like I think they're called the Rocky Mountains in Canada. This mountain range specifically is kind of more in the midst of like some light, some dark. It's not a fully light portal mountain. So it is really important at this time. Anyone who's feeling called to that mountain range, go if you can. Put your energies down, send your frequencies down. Yeah. All right. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have an amazing day, and we'll see you in the next video.